Hey everybody, we're back, and this time it's with Ren's Suicide. Ren has been blowing us away with everything we've seen so far, so we are very much looking forward to this. Push, let's go.
Okay, this was definitely put together the same way the Linkin Park videos are put together.
Well, it's not like everything I've seen from Ren so far. He is there, present. It's very live. I don't know where this is going, but this reminds me of Linkin Park right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, the recent
videos.
Linkin Park video, Linkin Park.
Speak English, man.
The recent Linkin Park videos have all had this like slowly transforming AI generated look to them, and I think this is probably built with the same AI system.
Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. I'm so fucking lonely beneath this. Narcissistic, can't keep a secret. Miscount sheep, I can't sleep, a misfit. Some say trouble, but some say sadistic. Bruises my brother, one time or the other. My skin felt counterfeit, silicone rubber. Bruises my sister, skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you. Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side.
So one of the things that I really like about Ren, and some people would say is hard for musicians to pull off, is where he has such a diversity of music.
Very diverse, yeah.
Right? Like all the different things that we've heard, we have his like bardic stuff, his rap stuff, and now this is a different feel altogether.
Yes.
It's very chill. It's like smooth. It's like Radiohead meets Plain White Tees.
Plain White Tees might be a little too upbeat for what you're saying, but yeah. It's got that chill alternative sound to it. Very interesting how he's able to just switch.
Yeah.
Such dynamically different genres and successfully pull them off.
Yeah.
He's not like, oh yeah, his rap stuff is good or his bardic stuff is good and his this style he's not good at. No, he's actually quite good at all of them, which is very rare. He's very talented. I do know from his YouTube posts recently that he's been going through a rough spell in his health journey. He's always had in and out health problems, and he put out a post a couple months ago that was saying, hey, I have good times and bad times. Right now is a bad time. I'm sorry there's no content coming out. Please forgive me. And then this song comes out, and it's like, I see, this song has some very, very dark elements, and you can tell he was not in a good mental space, which is reflected in a lot of his music, but this one particularly.
Which I think is relevant to a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people feel that. And what I really like about the imagery in this one is its shifty, chaotic nature, right? It's taking these images like people, shifting them down into skulls and back, and the scenery and the landscapes are moving. It's kind of like sands shifting beneath your feet kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, some of the emotion that he's trying to portray here, right? Like he's saying, like, talking about suicide, right? And he's talking about when was the right time and like all these things.
Yeah, never really found a right time is one of the lines there.
Right. And so it's kind of like when you're in these kind of mental states, you kind of shift between this sense of like, well, this is where I'm going. It's like, nah, maybe this is the right way. No, I shouldn't do that. Yes, I should. And it feels like nothing's stable, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of the feeling that a lot of people want to have is just feeling like your feet are planted underneath you.
Yeah, which we reacted to August D's Amygdala. He's one of the members of BTS, for people who are unaware. And it had a very similar message that was shown in the music video when the scene turned sideways, and it was like he was just crawling to get back out,
was
right?
cool.
So that scene was depicting the same thing. This is something that people around the world are familiar with,
right?
And it's amazing to see different cultures and how they're expressing it. And it's not even just different cultures, but different people,
right?
How they're expressing it.
Yes, I like that, and this is, I think, very relatable. And I think that, again, the chaotic nature here. If we look at just this scene that we're paused on, right? We have faces and hands, and they're melting and shifting, and it's very it's gripping in an icky way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, so is that that pig mask that shows up in so many of his videos, and showed up in this one. He was like face to face, staring down with that pig mask that shows up in so many of his videos. That one, yeah, that's gripping in an icky way.
I feel like that's a T-shirt. Gripping in an icky way.
Gripping! And then in little letters, in an icky way.
Yeah, that's actually a crime in all 50 states. So what are you in for? Gripping in an icky way?
Oh.
Sorry. I should leave.
Oh. Report yourself to HR.
I'll see myself to HR.
Suicide, suicide, suicide. Oh, I. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Sick boy, bitten by a tech boy. I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's sick. I'm so fucking washed up and seasick. Masochistic kid with a split lip. 6 feet deep, I can't eat, I'm nervous. Won't stay down cause my body purges. Useless my mother, can't keep in my supper. Skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your calm. I draw for the sword, then drive through the...
I really think I'm going to need a couple listens to really piece together all of these. But these are poignant lyrics. He's being very personal with this. He's not holding back.
Yeah. Well, that's what he does, right? Like, he shares his lyrics from the heart, from experience, from like emotion, right? It's not just like, what sounds cool? It's like, how do I convey in a cool way what I'm actually feeling?
Yes.
And I feel like he does that better than a lot of people
Yeah.
lyrically, you know? And it's cool to see kind of the transition between more of those lyric-based songs and to hear where the music is... Well, I shouldn't say that. It's just some of his songs, they're very talky, right? In a good way.
Bardic. The Bardic ones are very talky, yeah.
You know, but this one, you have these musical breaks in between these sections of the song, and it's kind of like a stop and go, and you feel that as you go from one part to the next part, as you go from the verse to the chorus.
It assists in having a mental shift.
Yeah, there's these breaks, and then the music kind of changes a little bit, and I feel like there's a big musical difference between his verses and his chorus.
Yeah.
And so it's very, what's the word? It's enveloping, you know, like it pulls you into the experience, especially with the visuals here. It's crazy. Falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side.
So that line, every time I've heard it, I had to pause it this time because I've forgotten to talk about it every time, but that line is standing out to me, or those two lines. Falling through the cracks of the night sky, a light goes out on the other side. And I feel like that is so poignant as to how people, when they commit suicide, vanish from our lives. It's like they fell through the cracks. People didn't pay attention to them, or people meant to get to them and didn't, and they just kind of fell through the cracks. And you hate to have like projects at work fall through the cracks, but it's heartbreaking to think of a person falling through the cracks. And then a light goes out on the other side, and they're gone, and you've lost them. You don't have a chance once they've fallen through the cracks. You got to keep up with people to make sure they're doing okay.
Well said.
Suicide, suicide, suicide. Oh, I. Treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide.
So in this scene where his face is shifting over and over again.
And it keeps giving him the red eye on the one side.
Yeah, so it feels very much like that. A lot of times in these mental states, right, you have this like these swings between like irritation and anger and then like anxiousness and then like sadness or downness, and it can just very much swing back and forth. And a lot of times if somebody has like depression, right, if we say that, or anxiety, sometimes it looks like all of them, and some people would just be like, you're bipolar because you're going between all these things. But a lot of times it's just that's kind of how those feelings present. And they sometimes will maybe be in one of those for a whole day at a time or weeks at a time, or you might switch in between. You might be just like really down, and then you just snap at somebody and just, you know, and it's like, holy cow, I thought you were sad. Why are you angry now? You know?
Yeah.
But I like that I noticed that with the face and how the system is making it shift and everything and the different ways that he does that, especially with his gestures of looking up and down and around, it conveys that. And maybe I'm reaching, but I feel like that's what I'm getting from it. And if that's what he's trying to give it to me, then I guess I'm not reaching. So.
Suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide.
Also, those jeans were popular in the late 90s and also the 70s.
Suicide. It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside a trunk, inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as well. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Sega, Justin, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. The distance is my plaster cast. The truth is that the day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find that anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying, and holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it worked, cause I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I could find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you absurd. Fuck.
That was a poem read to a beat at the end, but man, that was tissue time. Yet again, in this studio, we have tissue time. That was poignant. That was a beautifully written poem.
May I jump in for a minute?
Please.
What makes it so beautiful is not like, his rhyming schemes are all very nice, his timing's all very nice. It was. But what makes it beautiful is that it was real. It was raw. One of the most beautiful things in there is that he listed the names of his friends, right? This isn't just... People write about tragedy all the time. People write songs about tragedy. We can... It's not hard to find songs about tragedy. And a lot of times it's general, right? Or there's something that they feel or they're musing or whatever, and maybe it comes from personal experience. But I have never seen anything like this where somebody has written so rawly, is that a new word? So in such a raw fashion from their own feelings. And whether this is mused or not, that's besides the point, right? But what's given here is it's just so much more real feeling than just a song about tragedy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on one side, I feel like I got the message that was being sent with the chorus after hearing the poem at the end. And that was like, oh, cool, I actually got the message right, that he was talking about people falling through the cracks. And how he says, I meant to get to you, but I just didn't. And that's something that happens. You have to keep checking up on people who are, especially if you have friends who are going through a hard time. The line that really struck out to me in the poem is when he said, when you jumped off the bridge, my childhood jumped too. Mm-hmm. And if you lose a close friend from your childhood, it can feel that way. I kind of felt that feeling once, not with a person, so not quite to that degree, where there was a wildfire that was torching hundreds, thousands of acres, and it was going to destroy a cabin where I had spent pretty much every weekend of my childhood. And I felt that ripping away, that I'm going to lose my childhood, there's so many memories there, and you attach these memories to the people that you spent the time with, to the places you spent in your childhood. All those memories are attached to something, and when those places go away, we've all felt this when like some place we've been to at like some place we used to eat a lot.
You go back there and it's gone, or it's changed, or there's a new building. Or...
Yeah, like the place my wife and I had our first date is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. They tore it down and put up some burrito joint. Oh. And it's like, oh, that's gone now. I can't take my kids to see that and say, hey, this is where your mom and I's first date was. You know, those memories can go away as things change, or especially if people leave. And I was thinking about some friends of mine just the other day that I've been trying to track down for 15 years now. Haven't been able to reconnect with them. But these people matter so much, and you can tell they mattered to him because he wrote so personally. This poem isn't one that normally you would hear. It's one that if someone had the ability to write it, they write it and keep it to themselves. Ren shared this.
Yeah.
And that can't have been easy. But to share the human emotion so directly from himself to all of us is a beautiful thing. Ren, thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it as you get the end of this, the whole song makes more sense. You know, like talking about never finding the right time. Mm-hmm. Right? And that sense of, if I could have been there 5 minutes sooner. All this stuff, it touches us because we're human and he's human, and it's a rare thing, and I like that it's becoming more common for people to share the real human side of themselves, and that we're not trying to hide that away anymore.
Yeah. And
Ren is a pioneer in that movement, and I'm very grateful for that. Amazing stuff. If you haven't gone over and subscribed to Ren's channel, do that, because it is worth your while. Absolutely beautiful, stunning work that he does. And just go check him out. If you haven't seen our video where we react to Hi Ren, check that out as well. That'll give you a little bit more context, because that's our first video where we react to Ren. Mm-hmm. And I think we're just going to keep doing this because
he's good.
It's amazing. So keep up the good work. And one other thing, like you mentioned, Ren has had difficulties with his health and mental health and things. But life still happens, and we be patient with ourselves, and we can make things, and we can pause, and we can take breaks, and we can just live, and just take time to be alive is sometimes what we need to do. You know, sometimes we're always just like, how can I be better? How can I be the best? How can I should have done this. I should do that. And sometimes we just got to stop and just appreciate being alive. Anyway, I'm just going to leave you with that, and we'll see you guys next time.